Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Higher Estate, where we talk about all things related to health, wellness, and cannabis, where we bridge the gap between the lifestyle world and the medical world. And today, I'm a little slightly pissed, not because of Lucas forgetting everything at home, but who says, no, I can't emotionally handle it today. He literally said that to me. Did you say that, Lucas? Can you get on mic today, Lucas? We're gonna get Lucas on mic today. So Lucas is our guest, and we're gonna plug him in.
Lucas is just the man behind the scenes.
Yeah, he is, but he's gonna be on mic today. We're gonna mic him up, kid him up. But my reason for being frustrated, which has nothing to do with Lucas forgetting to bring the Gorilla Pod, so that we can not hang the Instagram live feed, really has to do with opioids and narcotics. So we have a crisis. We got a pretty significant crisis. Al, you'd agree? Al's not even there.
I would. I'm here.
Al, oh, by the way, say hi, Al.
Hi, Al.
And Al is producing this thing. He's behind the scenes at 420 Radio. Today we're going to be able to take questions from you guys instead of having a million guests talking about really interesting stuff. We're going to talk about more interesting stuff with the people that are here all the time. That's myself, Tyler, who disappeared for last week you weren't here.
I was in Arizona.
What were you doing?
Two of my friends are actually getting married. We're doing a bachelor parties down there.
Really?
Yes, actually, one of them is a cannabis lawyer.
What's her name?
His name.
Oh, right.
His name's Ian Bust.
Yeah.
He practices in Hamilton as well. So,
Does he?
Yeah. And he works with a bunch of LPs. He's a fantastic lawyer.
Okay.
And I actually was down there with the radiologist from General, Mirik.
Oh, really? You shouldn't say that.
Well, it's his first name, and he's one of my good buddies. He
Oh, we're allowed
won't
to say
care
that?
at all.
Oh, okay.
I won't say his last name
Why not?
because I can't pronounce it. I actually can't pronounce it. It's Polish.
Oh, okay.
But he's good buddies with Dr. Aziz, actually.
Oh, really?
And he knows you from De La Soul. Him and his fiance go to De La Soul.
Oh, really? So
Yeah.
why are you moving that? So I can't hit him in the
He
face?
didn't even know you were a doctor, actually.
He thought you were just a tatted up guy at the yoga studio.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See that?
It's like, I started describing you to him. He's like, that guy goes to De La Soul, doesn't he?
This is
And I was
my
like,
wife
yes,
is the
his wife
instructor
runs
there.
it. He's like, Naz? She's like, yeah, she kicks my ass all the time.
Oh, really? I didn't. Who's
His fiance goes a lot. He's been like 5 or 6 times.
Why
he
did you
said.
move that so I could stop hitting him?
Because
I like
every time
hitting
it
him.
makes noise.
Yeah, it makes it loud.
No, but I know. But that was fun. I was actually.
It'll be unlistenable.
It would be unlistenable.
I was. Oh,
But yeah,
Will?
no. So small world. I was down there with people
We
who
should
are
close
well
that
connected.
door.
It was pretty cool.
Interest. So he well connected doctor.
It's a small world.
It is a small
It's very
world. Yeah.
small world. And it's funny. We're down there. We have a physician and a lawyer in the house.
Right. So
We
when
were set
shit
to be
goes
there.
wrong, there's nothing.
There's actually one of my
I
buddies
forgot
because
my
we were obviously doing
thing.
a lot of drinking. But one of my friends, he didn't pee or poo for 4 days, and then Mirik helped him out.
What, you don't want to, what are you talking about?
Teddy
Who
again
says
would
that?
not care. He didn't. He got really scared. Like he couldn't pass anything for 4 days.
Well, that's not normal.
Mirik helped him out. He passed stuff the next day.
Oh my God! Who says this stuff on live?
do.
Oh, Al.
They're close friends of
People I
mine.
have
They
to
will not mind.
pee and poo. The stuff we have to deal with.
Well,
Rough.
he
Good
did, man.
start.
You'd be freaked out if you didn't.
Yeah, but I
But
know
we had
about that.
we had an on-call physician
We
at
had-
the house.
and in case y'all ended up in prison, you had a
We
lawyer.
had a lawyer.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah,
All
it
you
was
need is somebody who
fantastic.
knew how to grow cannabis.
It was Arizona. It's medical state.
Right. I
You
know.
can get it.
Yeah. All right. So my frustration, Al.
Yeah. Yes.
The opioid thing that's going on. So today I'm on call for the coroner today. So I was on my way to do a case, and so I got hungry, and so I stopped at A&W to get the Beyond the Beef patty, because since April 1st,
You actually like it, eh?
I love it.
Really?
I've been a vegetarian.
I still haven't tried it.
not like a real vegetarian. I eat fish.
But I usually don't like the things that are trying to imitate the meat version of something that are just vegetarian.
You just gotta get a better imitation meat.
Yeah.
But this one doesn't actually taste good. It doesn't like it
Is
doesn't.
it beyond the meat?
Yeah,
It's good.
it doesn't taste like the usual really shitty vegetarian.
If
Yeah,
you
I've
look
tried
into
this.
some of the health concerns about Beyond the Meat, though, there's a few things.
The
that are
soy.
there. Yeah,
Soy is the issue, but some people. I'm still trying to figure out if there is soy in Beyond the Meat.
there is.
There is.
Yeah, it's gotta be.
It is
It
soy
is.
based. No,
It's
I
not
thought
soy based, but there are soy byproducts.
because soy is not good.
No.
And I usually don't eat. See, I don't know how to be a vegetarian.
Why is it not good though?
Oh, soy is
Yeah.
bad for your estrogen levels. It's bad for
Okay. It just debalances your hormones.
Drink soy milk for a year.
Soy
you
is
won't be
not
the
good.
same guy.
No, soy is not good. Soy is bad.
Okay. What about almond milk?
It's bad for your
Almond milk's
hormonal
good.
levels.
I love almond milk.
Almond milk is great.
That's what I.
Soy not good.
Okay.
So soon you're gonna be lactating. I don't know.
Literally.
Okay, so you go to get the Beyond Burger.
So I go get the Beyond Burger. It was great. But while I ordered, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go to the bathroom because I
Oh,
can
God.
do those
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
So I walk in the bathroom, and there's needles everywhere. There's
fuck.
not only like needles lying around and little saline containers. There's like syringes still in a pack. It looks honestly, I thought I was in a needle exchange. It was literally like, and they looked like they were almost trying to hide it, but not really try to hide it. There was baggies with syringes, baggies with needles, baggies with alcohol swabs. There was a bottle for just like a looked like it was an empty vodka bottle that all the sharps were put into, and it was literally all the needles, like people's used needles.
Didn't walk in there and tell him you were a doctor, did you?
Well, I actually I was wearing my kit because I was on my way to a coroner case, so I came back out front and I'm like, listen, you guys need to clean that bathroom because it honestly looks like a needle exchange, and we're in a
it's a hazard, right?
freaking A&W. Yeah, not only a hazard. I'm like, who wants to go to the bathroom and like you're like
I would just fucking
right walk out. It's craziness, right? Oh, you know what? We need to get a swear jar for you. I've left it out the last couple days. I've been swearing less because the less I think about it, the swear jar makes me think, oh, swear. Subconsciously, I start swearing.
Oh, that's possible.
Right?
It's a
So
mental loop.
here's my point. My point is, I don't judge people for having an addiction. I'm not judging. I understand the difficulty of having an addiction. You're a heroin addict, fentanyl, whatever. If you're IVing drugs, I understand that it's an addiction. Where I do fucking judge you, though, is being an asshole.
Yeah.
If you're going to start leaving your stuff lying around, leaving your, junkie, no, I don't want to say junk, that's the wrong word.
'Cause then
Leaving
you're
your drug paraphernalia lying around, you're no longer a responsible drug addict.
Right.
No.
You're not being a harm to you, just yourself.
Be a harm to yourself. Don't be a harm to other people. Don't be an asshole. Go put it in. If you don't have a house, wherever you sleep, leave it in a corner somewhere, like that's well guarded.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Keep it on your person in the knapsack that you have, because there's a knapsack. There's something. You're wearing clothes.
Right,
Yep.
right.
Keep it on your person, which you shouldn't be doing. And what drives me nuts is when you put other people at risk. And that's a lack of that's a pure judgmental lack.
A lack of humanity.
Yeah, no, certainly, being, an addict, having an addiction to opioids puts you into that category.
Yeah.
You start to lose judgment and focus because you have an addiction.
I've seen that
Right.
in people, like it completely changes who they
Right.
are. Like it just,
Of course it does, but you don't have to change yourself. Don't put other people at risk, and
I
that
agree.
drives me nuts.
Well, the drug becomes your driving force to live.
Right, but
It
do
takes
it.
away
Do
everything.
it I agree.
Yeah.
We know that. So do that. Do it on your own time. Do it in your own place. Mm-hmm. Do it somewhere that you're not going to affect and kill other people or potentially do that. I understand
I
you
agree.
stop losing the ability to think like that.
yeah.
But I'm asking you, if you have an addiction, it's not a good. Obviously, I'm sure you're trying to work on it, but try not to, as best as you possibly can, take yourself down and try not to take other people down with you. Especially people that have no idea
Well, yeah. You
what
could
they're
have
getting into.
anybody
Like in a
walk
bathroom where there's needles
at
just
A&W.
lying around.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's,
That also brings me to another point. And that point is, I mentioned before that that in Hamilton we have relative per capita the largest problem in Ontario, and Ontario is the largest problem in Canada, and Canada has the largest problem in watch it, that's still live, so make sure that people can still see. Has the largest problem in the world. Now that's to say abuse, not deaths. If we're looking at deaths or overdoses, British Columbia still takes the reins on actual deaths.
Yeah.
Not by very much. They're at about 1,100 and we're at about 1,030. So, we're not behind by more than 100, and we're on our way up, and BC is actually on their way down. BC, after implementing a couple things last year, they're down about 100 deaths. We're up about a couple hundred deaths.
What did they implement to change? Yeah.
They implemented I don't know what they implemented, to be honest. I think what they started doing is looking at it. The truth is, I think our...
like safe injections.
They have safe injection sites. We don't. We sort of have safe injection sites, but we did get rid of them. From the... Are we getting phone calls?
Al got disconnected. Sorry.
From the point of... I always had an issue with safe injection sites, or maybe I didn't. I'm not sure. But now, after seeing these things that I'm starting to see show up in,
Well, you look at Vancouver. If you looked at Vancouver 5 years ago, you walked around on East Hastings, you'd see needles everywhere.
Right.
You still do. Ontario, there's still a huge problem. We haven't come to that social acceptance of it, though. You can see people down an alley shooting up in Vancouver, down almost any alley.
Mm-hmm.
I lived there for a month and a half, and I'd never seen anything like it, even in St. Louis or Baltimore or Philadelphia in the States, where it's really, really bad. I was shocked at how many needles I saw in Vancouver. Shocked.
I mean, today was... usually I'll see like one needle lying around. Today I literally saw a whole needle exchange in the bathroom.
I saw the picture. You saw a tie-off band, everything.
Yeah.
It depends where you are too, right? Because when I was working under the cotton factory and going down Barton Street every day, fuck, dude, like you'd see a lot.
I should put the picture up of what I saw today. I'll put it up after the podcast. Should I put it up right now or should I put it up after?
Sure.
You can
Do it whenever.
You could put it up on Facebook if you wanted to.
Or on Instagram.
It's a sad
Instagram.
picture, and it's in an A&W. Like, it's sad.
Yeah, it's really sad. Oh no, the picture's on my
On
phone.
your phone,
I
yeah.
don't even want to know
We'll do it
which
after.
one.
I'm gonna tell you which one, because it was actually the one on King Street just before Queen.
Which I go into quite a bit.
Yeah, which most people go into. I mean, it was lunch break. It was noon o'clock. Mm-hmm. And a whole bunch of execs and the financial industry people were in there, and there was kids all over, from school break and also with their parents. And I ordered my food, went into the bathroom there, and literally initially all I saw was like, thanks, man.
Thank you.
Initially all I saw were some like empty normal saline. It was actually looked like sterile water vials, and
Yep.
and then I just looked around. I didn't even look around. I literally turned around, and then I saw like baggies, like big Ziploc bags, full of. In each one had like a different piece of equipment to use for IVing. One was full of syringes. One was full of swabs. One was full of ties.
It's amazing how well equipped they are, though.
Super well equipped, but nobody was watching that.
When you think about it, we walk around as potheads or medical cannabis people. We walk around with little kits. I've got a kit that I take with me everywhere for my diabetes as well.
That's right.
And to them, it's not much different.
Right.
But it's disgusting that there's no cleanup.
Lack of respect for other people.
It does show a lack of respect, but I think it also plays to the point of what the addiction to an opioid does to somebody,
Or what the opioid does to you when
And
you.
that's
when
right.
you're high on it.
Well, yeah,
It's like you forget or whatever.
it turns you right off. It numbs you to the entire world.
I know.
It
where-
becomes your driving force to live.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah. But I mean, I've seen cannabis, people that have an addiction to cannabis that suffer from cannabis use disorder, but they're not
that
numb.
degree, yeah, no.
They may be looking for cannabis all the time,
Yeah.
but they're social. And, if we're talking about scales of disability, I'm not condoning, of course, even, any overuse of anything. But if we got to take the relative scale of things, I've got to think that even though cannabis use disorder is horrible and can make people, can ruin people's lives.
Like, what does that look like though on the bad end of the scale? Like,
what does it look like?
Yeah.
It looks like somebody that doesn't really that literally just wants to smoke pot all day, doesn't work.
but I mean, okay.
Is looking for their next, but they have friends, they use their cannabis all the time, and you can't hold a conversation with them. They are amotivational and they don't want to do things.
It makes me think of an Offspring song.
Probably no different. No, it's different than a sustained drinker. They live.
I can't.
They come home, they drink.
I can't hear you,
They wake up, they live their life.
Al. You're getting a little bit cut off when you talk.
I noticed that.
Why do you think that is?
Could be low battery on the speaker. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's Bluetooth. It needs to be hardwired.
Probably the
Yeah,
Bluetooth.
it's-
We need to get a hardwire speaker, and then it's just like me sitting beside you.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'll just start coming in. I mean, my schedule has opened up.
Yay. That would be amazing. Although next week I have to go back to BC, by the way, so I won't be here next week.
Oh shit, what's in BC?
Oh, can't we come
Go down to East Hastings. Go
Yeah,
to
that would be-
Go to the American Backpackers Hostel. I lived there for a month and a half.
Maybe what I'll do is
there.
I'll bring my mic with me that plugs into the
Yeah,
phone,
you can do that. Yeah.
and then we can still have a show.
That'd be really cool.
can.
Just be
You
a
just upload it to
3-hour
me, I'll
difference.
mix it
You
for
got to
it.
remember the 3-hour difference.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So what time would it? It'd be noon. Noon.
It's
Be noon for you, 3 for us.
Noon 30.
Noon 30.
Right. No, noon.
Yeah.
Noon 30, because it's 3 p.m. here. Is
It's
noon.
3-hour difference. Yeah.
Okay.
It's 12:30 there right now.
Yeah, I'll remember to do that. I was just so frustrated today seeing this lack of respect. But then again, it also goes to show, like I said, what opioids or narcotics do to people. And last night I moderated, and the reason I bring that up is because last night I moderated an event, or I hosted it. I didn't host it. I was the host of an event at somewhere else's place. It was kind of neat. My pop would actually. Here's the fun. It was at a synagogue in Toronto, of all places.
I saw
There was
I saw
about
the IG story.
Yarmulke.
there were about 75. I want to say. I don't want to say elderly. What do you call it? What is like
Oh,
older
Fine senior
people?
gentlemen.
Senior. That's the word. Seniors. There were.
Mom there?
No, but my pop showed up. But this is crazy. I haven't been able to get him to show. He hasn't showed up to, because he's usually doing his thing. Never shows up to much of the stuff, but he always wants to. Of course, the one at a synagogue he shows up to. I'm like, Dad, what are you
That's how
doing
you
here?
get him in. That's the whole thing.
I came to listen to you. In the meantime, I really wasn't talking very much, so he left. But before it started, because I was just moderating it. But there was 2 doctors, one excellent doctors. Marnie Brooks, she's wonderful actually. She is a little spitfire. She don't mess with her, and she knows her stuff around cannabis really well. Prescribes cannabis or recommends cannabis, whatever you want to call it. There's another doctor, really nice guy. He's a researcher, doesn't prescribe cannabis. He's, and he's the guy, there's always you have to have both sides
Yeah,
to the
absolutely.
argument. I don't mind his side of the argument. There's no evidence. He goes off on the no evidence part, though. There's no evidence. Here's where the evidence is. This is what the Canadian family physicians people say, and blah, blah, blah. And then he tried to say something like, you even have evidence that cannabis causes heart attacks. And I'm like,
Wow.
oh, shit, here we go.
what evidence is
I'm like,
that?
show you. There's no
Yeah.
evidence. Come on, there's no evidence that cannabis
That's a
causes
hell
a
of a
heart attack.
claim to just throw
Yeah,
out there.
but that's what they do. They throw out claims. It's weird because we have to be the ones who are always defending the
Level-headed
evidence.
and shit.
Yeah, and they could just throw it. There's even evidence to say that there's a heart attack and stroke.
I read it one time.
Yeah.
I read one time. Yeah,
Sounds
I read
a lot
one
like
time.
via climate
So
change.
I was like, you show me yours, I'll show you mine. That's always the thing. And I pop off, right? That's I start popping off. Like, I like when people come at me with studies because I'm like, okay, so let's talk studies. So I start quoting study after study after study. And listen, cannabis isn't for everybody. And cannabis isn't a benign medicine. You know, it does have its side effects, and
Especially younger, I think that
specifically younger people who are using cannabis under the age of 25, maybe 27, whatever it is, before frontal lobe development. Also, if you're using it every day, if you have cannabis use disorder, also no good. But I don't see anybody leaving nugs behind in a bathroom
Or, like,
with
breaking and
with
entering,
you know.
You don't even see him leave a dirty popper bottle, which is like
That's
a
right.
homemade bong.
Not at these fucking prices.
Right.
No.
You know, so even those who have, I find even those who are
I get
addicted.
when I drop a butt on the floor.
right, even those who do have addiction, I find that, you know, the addiction between a cannabinoid and an opioid are totally different. Whether you're smoking joints all day.
alcohol, though, right?
You know what
Like,
I
it's no.
You know what I tell people? I tell people that if feeling better and wanting to live my life is an addiction to cannabis, fuck, okay.
Right. I mean, still, if it causes, you know, for an addiction to you know, to be considered an addiction, it has to affect your daily life and negatively. If it's negatively impacting your daily life, it's not good. You know, if you can't go without having cannabis, and if you do go without cannabis, you turn into a grumpy asshole and all this other business, then
That only lasts for
I
a
get
couple of
sick.
days.
no, I know, but what I'm saying is that's still not good. You should still be able to function as a decent human without having to use anything. Right?
Yeah.
You know, everybody has pain, different degrees of pain, but we also recognize that, you know, the pain isn't us. It's just a factor of what's happened to us. And so using that as a starting point and not defining yourself, and I always come back to this, not defining yourself by your ailment helps you understand that you could still be a decent human outside of that. You know, I've had a lot of trauma in my life, in every way, but you know, I still try to be a decent human. We've all had that. You've had that.
Everyone has.
Everybody, both physically, emotionally, but still we're decent humans, you know. And then I look, do you see you're covering? Look, Lucas, what are you doing, yo?
I'm changing the battery in the camera.
Lucas, who is the recorder, I'm just throwing this out there so that everybody knows you're gonna hire. You need
That's
to.
when he does a nice little fade and then it comes back.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that's what was going
The
on.
battery's gonna die at some point.
He's got to switch it.
All right. Okay. So, point being, I think still, even though cannabis addiction exists, I'm still going to tell you that it's way safer to be addicted to cannabis than it is to an opioid. Now, certainly, both. I mean, I don't know. Can I say that? People, what do you think? I want to hear what people have to say. I maybe I shouldn't say that because addiction is bad no matter what.
Well,
But
we're yeah.
On that note, I just want to quickly mention that we do have a call line, and it is a U.S. number, but if you can't call U.S., look us up on Skype, Lifestyle Radio, or you can call 1-323-795-2420 and talk to the doc.
Who is ever going to remember that number? Can you say it like a million times slower? Maybe put the voicey thing next to the camera.
What's
so
the
people
number?
can hear that.
1-323-795-2420, or just look up Lifestyle Radio on Skype.
All right, cool.
I put it in the chat too.
Okay. So, can we say that? I don't know. What do you think, Lucas?
I think a lot of the just anecdotal evidence that I've seen throughout my life, I've seen like just oxys ruin people that I knew from high school.
Can
that
you just come to a mic?
I'm on a mic.
Oh,
He's
Lucas,
just far away from
he's
my
just far away
computer.
from the computer.
I'm just sorry.
I'm sorry, Al. We will get this figured out.
Just the evidence that I've seen living in San Francisco for 3 years. I saw the craziness. Like, we were right beside a methadone clinic too, so like it's the bad end of the scale is really bad, and I've never seen that with cannabis. Like, that's why I asked you what's the worst case, what it looks like, and if it's you're unmotivated and you're not willing to do whatever it takes to get high off of weed. Like
There are people that are. There are people
whatever
that
it
literally.
takes, though, like I
don't know.
There's a break there that people
Yeah.
will go to another place for opioids that they
Right.
won't do for
People
weed.
will go to another. They'll kill you.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like
They will kill you over $5.
yeah.
Yeah.
They
Didn't that
literally
just-
will.
Yeah, that just happened.
Do you know how
Are
many
we-
shootings happen in St. Louis over $5 for heroin?
You know, it's
A lot.
interesting. I should have had my friend on here who's an addiction. She works in addictions at one of the, at Homewood. And because I wonder, I mean, we see it all the time, but what I don't see the inpatients, and I don't see people literally doing anything they can with their, I don't see anybody trying to kill somebody over $5 to get a gram of cannabis.
No.
No.
But am I wrong? Am I wrong when I say that?
You gotta, the world you get introduced to in that too is like, now cannabis is legal, but before, your weed dealer versus your heroin dealer.
Yeah, they've always been.
Example
separate.
from university in the US, a centerman from our football team got executed in the parking lot over $20 worth of crack
Fuck.
at university in the parking
And
lot.
actually, it's funny.
And he
because-
was addicted to crack, and he played football, and he was on a scholarship, but he didn't have the money. They killed him in the parking lot of the university, right in the back of the head.
like a good example of it too is that
can't hear you.
Sorry.
I can't even hear you. You're sitting in front of me.
A good example is like most weed dealers that I've ever known have never sold anything other than weed or they have some kind of
Ecstasy, though?
psychedelics. No,
Right,
but it's usually
psychedelics.
mushrooms or DMT. They'll never
Right.
go to that other side of the coke or
What they
whatever.
consider hard line drugs.
Yeah,
So what you're saying is there's an
It's
ethical
a lifestyle difference.
There's
Yeah,
definitely a
little
lifestyle.
bit.
Well, heroin, you're getting that from who? It's coming from Mexico or the Middle East. The people that bring that here are hardened criminals.
Yeah, they're gangsters.
Some hippie could be growing your weed in the backyard and just be like, take it all. I don't care.
It just
don't
happens to
kill
find
me.
shrooms somewhere. Yeah.
right.
You know what I mean? A heroin dealer is going to protect his $250,000 worth of smack because if he doesn't have that, he knows his whole family's done.
Right. That's a good
There's a
point.
whole
It breeds
different
the
escalate of
underworld, too.
violence.
It breeds a whole industry of bad shit that happens that I don't see with weed the same
It
way.
thrives on violence. That whole industry does. It's about fear, extortion, and violence.
Right. Right. I mean, I guess I agree with that. But then I look at places like Murder Mountain. I look at.
So if you look, and again, that's the U.S. because laws there for penalties on cannabis are way stricter. So you're going to be a lot more protective of what you do. And I know from being in school down there, if you're a dealer, you're usually a dealer. You don't just sell cannabis.
You're selling it all.
You're selling it all because your penalty is the same in most states.
Right. So which
But
is
that's gonna
fucked
change
up.
now.
That
Which
is
is changing. But yeah, if on the most point, if you needed anything from that guy, he'd do it.
right. I mean, that makes sense. Which is one of the reasons why, when they talk about cannabis as a gateway drug, right? So the myth of the gateway drug, cannabis itself, I think that's been debunked over multiple years.
I
And-
think it helps.
I think alcohol's way more.
Well,
of a
it's
gateway
definitely
drug.
an,
the ultimate
it's definitely an exit drug.
Yeah.
But if we talk about cannabis as a gateway drug, because that's what, I'll tell you in the medical literature and in the just general public, I know when we talk to ourselves, we don't see cannabis as a gateway drug. But when you talk to somebody in the general public
Oh,
or
yeah.
you talk to a parent or
My
you
mom.
talk to God,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
The person that grew up with that confirmation bias of reefer madness, they certainly believe that cannabis is a gateway
it
drug.
works.
Yes.
Yeah, it totally works.
Which I'll talk about why. I'll show you how it was debunked. Well, first you can read the Diane Riley. If you want to read anything, there's a really good article on the state of drugs in Canada. That was basically an apology to not only to the people of Canada, but also to the Asian population during the Asian race riots of the early 1900s here. In 1996, Diane Riley did her thesis on state of drugs and cannabis in particular for the Parliament of Canada. It's for the Honorable Pierre Nolan. You can read it on the Parliament of Canada's website. I don't know if they've taken it down, but the last time I saw it, maybe a year and a half ago. Is there a question there? Just if you feel like responding to people, just hold it in your hand and respond to people as long as they can still see us. You know what I mean? So here's the question. So here's the problem when it comes to cannabis as a gateway drug. Just hold it up so that we can still see. So cannabis is a gateway drug. if we look the way that the studies were done, if you look at, there's two populations. When we study something, you have to study the population that you're trying to study. So the question then becomes, if who are you selecting? If you look at the general population, most societies have about a 4% hardline drug use in most societies. So if you look at the society, but most societies also have a 40% cannabis use.
Right.
Yeah. Some actually, just as of recent, that article last week that said 80% of Canadians turning to cannabis for health and wellness. So if I look at the 4% of the population who are using hardline drugs, what do you think the percentage of them who are using cannabis?
Oh, not high. Like on a regular basis?
Of the hardline drug users
that
are using cannabis
on a regular basis.
Yeah, it's high. It's not high. It's very high.
It's really high?
Yeah, 4% of the 4% of the population.
Of them, you're asking.
Correct.
You're saying that percentage is high?
Yes, that percentage is very high. Over 90% of people who use hardline drugs use cannabis.
Okay.
That's what they do.
I think that number's influenced by how many people just actually use cannabis.
Correct. So just listen to my argument. You're all backwards, people. But now let's flip that script. Let's look at the 40% of the population who uses cannabis. What percentage of them are using hardline drugs?
Very low.
Less than 4%, because 4% of the whole population. Right.
Yeah.
So if I was looking,
lower than average.
So if I was to do a study, I wouldn't look at the hardline drug users who are using cannabis. I'd look at the cannabis users who are using hardline drugs, because that's what I really want to know. Because of course, hardline drug users, for the most part, are using all drugs.
But yeah, they're going to use everything.
Right, and they're using cannabis. Right? So the studies that have been done, they're usually looking at hardline drug users who also use cannabis.
Because that's going to fit the argument that they want.
Right. So what they're doing, they can make an inference from that, saying, well, look at all the hardline drug users. They're all using cannabis. Therefore, cannabis is a gateway drug. But if we now look at the whole population of cannabis users and look at them who are using hardline drugs, you're going to find that it's less than 4%, which is nothing, a very, very tiny, small amount.
Lower than the average of the
Well, no, it's just the average general population, a very small amount. Most people who use cannabis don't go to hardline drugs.
No.
Otherwise, we'd have a whole world full of drug users.
Otherwise, 80%.
Right, 80% of our, right. So we call that in research, we call that selection bias.
Yeah.
So the selection bias for the studies that have shown that cannabis is a gateway drug are looking at the wrong population. They're looking at a population of hardline drug users, and most of them are using hardline drugs. What you want to see is the conversion of people who are cannabis users using hardline drugs. You have to look at the cannabis users. And for that, you're going to find less than a 4% population who turn to hardline drugs. Therefore, cannabis is not a gateway drug to hardline drug use.
I would like to see that.
Is that what they say about alcohol then?
We got a call, guys.
Okay, but hold on.
We got a call. Let's take the call.
Okay, fine. Let's take the call.
Take the call.
Take the call.
All right. Well, we missed it. We took to
You missed it?
yeah, we missed it.
So why don't you pick it up and just say hello?
All right.
Oh, hello.
First time caller, long time listener, I hope.
Yes.
I was wondering how you would use cannabis to aid in the withdrawal of like a harder drug.
That's a great question. Actually, so by the way, hi, you're speaking to me. Hi. That's a great question. So actually one of the areas that I focus mostly on, and Tyler, you can talk to that as well. The question is, how do we use cannabis to help people off of hardline drugs? The area that I focus mostly on is around opioids or narcotic use. And one of the main reasons why cannabis works and is helpful, by the way, I'm just about to publish a study on 1,200 patients on that. We finished data collection. Be surprised, 85% have been able to decrease their opioid use because of cannabis, or with the help of cannabis. Cannabinoids, the active ingredient inside the plant, actually interact with some of the same receptors that those hardline drugs interact with, and therefore can take the place of those and thereby enable them to decrease the amount of hardline drug that they're using at the time. The way to do that is, of course, is to decrease very slowly over time. You cannot just stop somebody who's using, and this isn't, of course, I just don't want to say this is not medical advice, by the way.
Yeah.
But what you don't want to do is stop somebody cold turkey off of a narcotic, because if you do, they'll go through severe withdrawal. You can't decrease more than 10% per week, actually. So it's a very, very small amount, and then you can slowly start interchanging. For example, if they're using long-acting narcotics, they can start using an oil or an ingestible cannabis instead of that, because ingestible cannabis is long-acting. If they're using a short-acting narcotic, something like a Percocet or a hydromorphone that's not long acting, then what you do is you have them vape during that time, because vaping is short acting. So eventually I start to interchange both of them.
Cool.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
awesome.
that makes sense.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for call.
Thank you for the call.
Thank
you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you actually the what you got something to say?
No, I didn't know that they interacted with the same
Similar receptor.
receptors. Yeah. So, but just not to the same degree, but they still hit that.
No, they'll work to the same degree. Oh, yeah.
Does that help mitigate some of the withdrawal effects then, like the physical withdrawal effects? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, certainly it does. So opioids bind to basically five major receptors. Okay. 4 of them are all related to a delta receptor. There's D1, 2, 3, 4, and then there's a mu receptor.
A mu?
Mu, it's called mu.
Okay.
Like I don't know, you can draw it. And then it's another
Pokemon
receptor.
Mew.
But then there are also dopamine, for example, also affects a whole bunch of different receptors, and affects GABA, which is this one in your brain that causes the hyperactivity if you don't have enough dopamine.
Okay.
And cannabinoids interact with most of them, except they spare the ones that cause significant addiction.
That's so crazy.
It's crazy that we have a plant that does that, right?
Wow.
Which is mostly around, they all affect it in different ways, but the D1 receptor may be responsible for that. It's all in the basic literature. So it's kind of cool that happens.
It really does feel like the more you learn about it, the more that it's really a gift.
This plant
so
is
much,
certainly a gift.
like-
Now,
100%,
of course, anything can be abused. So we
course,
have to be careful. We can't just say, cannabis is going to cure the world, which it could if we eventually.
Dude, you can die of drinking too much water.
That's right. So here's the thing, though, about cannabis. Like the plant itself is not just one medicine, right? There's over 100 different cannabinoids, right? There's how many terpenes? 25 different possible terpenes in there.
Within the plant.
Within the plant,
it's
yeah.
the most terpene-rich plant in the world.
And then there's flavonoid. All these things have their own medicinal properties. So cannabis, in essence, really is a whole bunch of different medicines clumped together. So what we do need to do is start pulling away the different ones and trying to evaluate them on their own, and then putting them all back together. But we have hundreds of years left of studying this plant that we sort of ignored from a Western medicine perspective for the last, couple hundred years. Yesterday, it's interesting. This guy also started showing photos of the early 1950s, when there was a lot of propaganda, or a lot of marketing for cigarettes and all these snake oils, and he shows he's showing cannabis, this one tincture for cough or sleep, which had cannabis in it, right next to the one that says take cocaine for whatever it is, and he said things change and we no longer use cocaine for anything, and look, we still have this cannabis thing. And I just want to tell him, up till 2 years ago, I still use cocaine in the emergency department to stop nosebleeds. We use 4% liquid lidocaine, pure cocaine. Can I get the cocaine? 4% pure cocaine is how we stop nosebleeds.
And it's taken from the coca plant?
Yeah. Pure cocaine.
Really?
It's synthetic.
It's synthetic.
Okay. But it's still cocaine.
Still cocaine.
It's liquid, because it's great at vasoconstriction.
Liquid 8-ball.
We now have other things, but I used to ask for the cocaine, and it's liquid, and I'd stick liquid cocaine in people's nose, 4%, plug their nose, and eventually stop. It would cauterize, and then I can go in and cauterize it, and it would also numb them. Lidocaine, all these things.
I might have had that done when I was a little. I had those things stuck up my nose that seals it.
Yeah, I do that too.
I was born with a deviated septum.
Yeah, what's up?
I got my.
Put the speaker up so people can hear.
Late in life.
No, turn it a little bit. It'll
and
stay.
I jokingly said to when they were doing their thing. Before he knocked me out, he wanted to spray something in my nose. I said, hey, what's that? He said, cocaine.
Yes.
He wasn't kidding.
No, he wasn't kidding. He could have been spraying lidocaine. How long ago was it?
I was 27, so, 30 years ago.
Can you speak right into your mic or whatever you're speaking to? I can hear you moving away.
I'm right here, buddy.
Oh, now you're right there, buddy. We know when you're not right there. We can tell. Yeah, it was. You were 27, so you're going back some years. That was probably specifically cocaine that they were using.
Wow.
That's what we used to.
He was fucking around.
No, that's what we used to use. For sure it was.
Hey,
Something today, bud.
Yeah. Yeah. So look at Lucas. Lucas
he's getting everything perfect.
is,
Let him do his thing.
he's got his own thing. I feel like we should take a picture of this setup. Can you take a picture of his setup so we can put it like
Our makeshift
look at
setup.
our techie here. Our techie.
Kind of hodgepodge together. a little
Yeah,
bit.
you know?
Great. I think it looks great.
I love it. Yeah, so cannabis for opioid substitution seems to be helpful. I mean, there's, something he did say where we do agree, and of course we need both sides of the argument, but where I do agree with him, do we have the randomized control trials for all of this opioid reduction stuff? We don't. But what I have are thousands of patients who will tell you what's happening to them.
And the only reason why the studies don't exist is because for the longest time we couldn't do them.
We couldn't. They're just too expensive to do. We could do them. They're too expensive, and nobody wanted to do them.
Well, nobody's going to fund it because exactly.
Who's
right?
going to fund a plant
Because
that they
the
can't?
pharmaceutical industry funds a lot of the
That's
research, right?
All of the research.
Well, there you go.
And it's going to start crumbling down there. That's why they all buy LPs.
That's true. The pharmaceutical, but they haven't
that been
figured.
the move now?
The pharmaceutical world hasn't figured out how to get into the cannabis world. That's
Purdue
where.
owns Emblem.
Yeah, no, I know.
There's
just
a lot. A Swiss pharmaceutical company owns Tilray.
No.
They do. Look it
No,
up.
they don't own them. They've partnered with them. I know because I consult for them.
Okay.
So, they're not owned by them. You can.
But that makes sense.
I'm going to look
though.
it up because someone told me that and I looked it up and I found that it was a
No,
Swiss
they have a part.
pharmaceutical company.
It is, but it's a partnership. It's not an ownership.
Okay.
Anyway. Okay. So you can and when you're done telling me who it is, I'll tell you who it is. But it doesn't matter. Anyway.
I'm just reading, that's all.
Okay.
But
So
I would like more instead of just push back on just the weed thing it not being a gateway drug. I think there should be a little bit of a push to
can't hear you again.
I think there should be a push that that alcohol should be really looked at as that gateway drug because it is for so many people. I've seen how many people that do blow get drunk first?
Yeah, everybody.
Everybody.
Yeah.
I was going to talk about that earlier about alcohol, gateway drug. I'd like to see that statistic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
I mean,
alcohol's
just
not
on the
cutting
base
it.
of going to a bar, no one comes in saying, "Hey, let's go and let's do rails off the on the bathroom."
Yeah.
3 a.m. Everybody's in the bathroom.
Yeah. So
Hey, buddy, you got a key? The guy sitting in the booth next to you? Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's bad. Cocaine just made a huge comeback
Yeah, it has.
in the last 4 or 5
With these
years.
millennials,
Yeah, no, stay away from that crap. It's terrible.
crack is whack.
It is. Whitney
No, I
Houston
think
said
the
it
biggest
first.
I think the biggest thing now is Adderall. It's like how
it's still there?
common-
Adderall was
dude, it's so common. in the
Adderall's
States.
been around.
for a long, but
it's
people
like
really do abuse it now.
the entirety of
It's-
Silicon Valley.
Really?
Yeah,
all of
in-
my friends
in the
are either
States
on
in
Ritalin
college,
or,
man. It's, the guys
Adderall.
that don't want to escalate to cocaine escalate to Adderall because it's
like the
kind of
same thing.
similar.
Well, they started in college, and as soon as they go to the tech companies, they have insane
Hours.
it's- with the hours, and we got to ship. It doesn't matter what it takes. You got to fucking get this done, and don't stop till you get it done. Well, yeah, that's what they're gonna turn to.
It's the only way to do it.
Yeah, you can study for 12 hours straight, not even blink an eye.
Did you take Ritalin?
I took Adderall in college, yes. Not Ritalin. I hate Ritalin. I did that as a
for
kid.
2
I
years.
was on Ritalin from 5 until 16.
Oh,
Okay.
Al, you're back. You can hear as he's walking towards the
It's just
computer.
Bluetooth.
Moved.
He didn't move. It's Bluetooth.
You think so?
sucks. Yeah. Hardwire, it would be like him sitting right there.
Yeah, I mean, Ritalin is. I think there's a time and a place. There are a lot of people that do need it. So Ritalin is a dopamine reuptake inhibitor. What that means is people that have ADHD don't have enough dopamine.
Yeah.
And so to keep dopamine around, you need exogenous or outside of your body dopamine.
Yeah. What I see in Silicon Valley though is just like sedentary lifestyle, shitty eating, and they just and they
go exercise.
Balance it out with Adderall instead of exercise. Right. That's what I see.
Yeah. I mean,
whenever I would take that stuff, I would not eat.
Adderall.
If I was taking Adderall, I wouldn't eat for days.
Don't eat. Don't sleep.
Adderall made me really aggressive.
Yeah.
I was very thin until I was.
Nah, come on, Al. Yeah, lies. Yeah, okay. I was 6 years old.
I went from 120 pounds at 16
Really?
to over 200 by the time I was 18.
Oh, wow.
Holy.
Yeah, well, I was working, I was driving a truck, and I was.
Each wife, I gained another 20 pounds.
Gained 20 pounds, lost a couple years.
Yeah, you gained some weight yourself. You going to the gym?
Put on muscle, yeah.
It looks like
I
it.
actually
What are you
lost weight.
What are you taking?
on
A little
No
little
creatine, nothing,
supplementation.
100% natural.
Did I say creatine? I'm not. I
took
say
creatine
it.
in college.
There's nothing
so-
wrong with creatine.
No, when
What's
I was
wrong
in
with creatine?
college, I took that stuff.
We all need
but,
creatine. The only problem is our body only uses so much of it, and the rest we're going to waste.
Right.
For every gram of creatine, you actually retain 4 grams of water. So like, really, what it does is you look bloated because of the water.
Yeah, I
retention.
don't take creatine at all.
What about
I hate
like
creatine.
testosterone? Is a supplement? Is that?
Yeah. Do you take testosterone?
The only thing I do. No, not testosterone.
I don't take anything. I don't take anything.
BCAAs, like maybe once or twice a week. BCAAs.
No, you should take. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with BCAAs.
I eat.
That's
well
fine.
enough,
Those are
like, I
amino
eat well
chains,
enough. I
amino acids.
All
that's
that
fine.
crap I need in my body, I eat it.
Yeah?
First thing I do right
Just
when I finish
eat
at
it.
the gym, I go right to Metro. I get a 30-gram protein shake that's all fruit. And then I get a big tray of veggies.
75 grams of carbohydrate.
Yeah, there's carbs in it, but you need carbs after a workout.
Yeah.
You do?
So I do that, and then I eat a full veggie tray, the $6.99 veggie trays. It's right after a workout every time.
Really?
That's
That's good.
do.
Veggies are good.
Veggies and a good
You need your
protein
carbs
shake.
before your workout. You need your protein after your workout.
So what I do before my workout, when I get home from here, I don't eat all day. I eat about
Why
2,000
don't you
calories and then go to the gym.
why don't you eat?
Busy.
Because you're working?
Yeah, working my butt off.
Aw.
I don't have
Tyler,
time
you're
to spare
such a
for
good
lunch.
worker.
I don't
Such
spare
a
for lunch.
nice guy. You work so
I
hard.
think that is becoming so much more common now. The fasting.
actually
or
work?
No, that's
becoming
coming
less common, man.
That's going
There ain't
down.
nobody that wants to work anymore.
I agree with.
People be telling me like they're like, no, I thought today coming to work was optional. Like, who does that? Who's like, I thought today was. What do you mean today was optional? Today's not optional. Today I'm going to optionally show up to work.
No.
Is that a millennial thing? Like, what? I don't
If it
understand.
isn't, I don't know about it.
Yeah,
'cause
we
I
keep
think
you
that's-
away from those regular millennials.
I think it's
Nah,
a city millennial
yeah.
kid thing because small town millennials are not the same.
No.
They're still not the same.
No, because they still got beat by their parents.
Yeah. And I mean,
Yeah.
there's still like you have to answer for. You have to be more responsible for.
I'll tell you
Right.
something really screwed up about my childhood once.
All right. Why do you have 2 phones? Oh, work.
Work phone.
Gotcha.
My dad pinned me down and spit in my mouth.
That's disgusting.
I don't know if it was an accident or not, but he did that, and I'll never forget it. That's what happens in small.
Pop's
Mad at me, and I think I had my mouth open, and he had it happened, but he had pinned me down.
Oh, he's
and
just,
then
like,
spit it
yelling
in
Dude,
my
you don't want
mouth.
to say he's gonna what?
My dad won't hear that. My dad, fuck, are
That's-
you kidding me?
That's crazy. Hold on a second.
a
Your
little
pop
crazy.
literally sat you down,
He pinned me down.
but it
and
wasn't
then-
on purpose. He spit.
I don't
in
think
your,
it
no, you
was
just
on
remember that. He was
purpose.
probably yelling at you.
Yeah, and my mouth was open, but spit got right in there like a loogie or
I'm
something.
sure that
I'll
was
never
traumatic
ever
as hell.
forget it. I'll
is
never
disgusting.
ever forget it.
Oh.
I think it was when I did a lot of screwed up shit as a kid.
Yeah, like what?
Do you want to hear one of the worst things I did? But it was
We
on a
got
good
you now.
cause, as a
You
good
asked
cause.
the question.
I almost got banned from Instagram for commenting this the other day.
As long as it wasn't racist.
It's not racist. It's a little violent towards national animal,
We have a national animal.
Beaver.
Canadian geese.
Oh yeah.
So
Look,
they
you're
were-
so angry.
So
Yeah, they are.
when I was in about grade 6, I didn't live far from a graveyard, and they were tormenting people around this pond around graves. I made my own flamethrower and I burned them and then threw their eggs in the pond.
Oh, that's fucked up.
That is wrong, dude. I
They were
like
bugging all
right
the people,
now.
all the people going to the graves.
No,
and
you don't
shit.
want to say that.
It was.
They told me to say it. I'm
No,
not
there was
ashamed of
no.
it.
You don't want to say that.
I'm not ashamed of it. I did
You
that.
should be. You should be ashamed of that.
Not. They were terrible.
No, but why a flamethrower? Why didn't you just like, oops, kill it with a
Because
like
I'm
a,
BB gun
in
or
grade 6.
something.
Yeah.
What's a deadly weapon I can make with gas, a water gun, and a candle?
You're in grade 6. Did you kill animals when you were young?
Kill animals when I was young? Not really. Oh,
Well, not really.
I did.
You know, people
Found-
who killed animals are more likely to become
Found dead
killers.
animals. There's one
yeah,
I-
sociopaths.
I played
Hold on a
road
sec,
hockey
that's
with
like-
a dead bird.
Hold on.
Lit it on fire.
Oh my God! You lit animals on fire. No, this is not funny. I'm
well,
gonna form you and
that's like
put you
one
in
of-
jail.
Put me in jail. I
That's like
also
with the
got
one
expelled from
predictor.
school for lighting a kid's hair on fire. Like I had
Oh,
a
dude.
problem.
You're hitting
as a
all the
kid.
marks.
Oh, you had a problem.
I had a problem as a child.
the-
Ritalin fucked me up.
Is it changed your? Has your life changed now?
Do I do anything bad?
Are you a peaceful human?
Do I do anything bad?
Are you a peaceful human?
I sit in my garden all day.
Okay.
There you go, that's-
So I'm going to say then you've made a change. We'll say that was
I went-
you before you.
okay, so
but
I
you
went
should say
from-
you're
think of
ashamed
this.
of burning animals.
It was tormenting old people going
Right?
to visit their loved ones at their graves.
Okay,
It was
but
tormenting people.
I get the tormenting
But there's
part.
better
but
ways
there's
of dealing with the
call
Which they've
animal
used a
control or
crossbow?
something. Yeah,
Animal control won't do anything to a national animal. They
even
won't
a-
fucking touch it.
even a crossbow is better than I lit a thing and torched people to death.
It's just
It was the only thing I
traumatic
could
for the
think of,
people
man.
there, too.
You're in grade 6. I never killed a single animal in my. I like though. I brought them in my house.
I saved animals too, but I killed tons of them.
It's not an animal.
Oh my
My
God!
dog-
What are we talking? Can we move on? No, I don't want to hear about this stuff. Oh, fine.
My story.
No, this is okay. But hold on. First,
Hold on, let me say this.
Al,
though.
I'm
As
not
far as
finished.
becoming a peaceful
I'm not
person,
finished with Tyler
in-
yet.
So I went from in elementary school, middle school, all that, expelled. My last year of grade 8, I was suspended, I think 36 times. I went into high school, not one suspension. Nothing happened. I got off of Ritalin.
Yeah,
Started smoking pot.
yeah. Ritalin makes you aggressive.
Yeah, I was an
potentially.
aggressive ass kid.
That makes
Now
sense.
it's just crazy
Yeah.
to me, like how common
So-
it is to prescribe it to kids in the States, though.
Yeah,
It's high, dude.
but
Not as well viewed.
the question is why is well, first I want to finish this Tyler thing just because
I'm like a peaceful, normal person. Come on.
there you go, thank you.
Like I am.
agree with no, but I know you as this peaceful person.
Take
so
me as a kid.
right? So as a kid, like
Ritalin, yeah.
burning animals is not a good thing. People don't burn
No.
animals.
I used to run kids through the boards in hockey too.
Really?
Hurt a lot of
That's
kids
how
in
I
hockey.
got it.
Ritalin
too, yeah.
Ritalin does that.
Hyped me
Ritalin
up.
Ritalin makes you super aggressive. It can do that. It's like speed for people who are normal and don't have ADHD issues.
I was told I had ADHD.
Um,
Diagnosed with it.
But it also like it hits your mesolimbic area of your brain, and that can turn you into like a wild animal.
What is that?
Yeah,
So
man.
like it's going to
It
it forms
regulates?
like memories and stuff, but it can also make you
some
aggressive.
amazing stories from
Should
my
I
childhood.
be worried? Should we be worried about any effects from that? I mean, I was on it for 5 till 16, and then again for 2 years as an adult.
No, I think
like,
I mean
I don't know.
certainly what it does is rev up your metabolism because it basically think of cocaine in speed. Basically that's what it is, right?
Yeah.
And so any of those things, what they all do is they put you into fight or flight mode. They pump up your blood pressure, probably hastening atherosclerotic plaques. Also, your metabolism revs right up. Everything is on height and peak, and then all of a sudden, when you stop taking it, everything shuts right down. Your body's like, I'm not in fight or flight anymore. I can conserve energy. It takes me a lot now it takes one a lot to get their heart rate up and all that stuff. So you end up gaining a whole ton of weight, and your metabolism shuts right off.
Which is what happened to me. I used to get an instant breakfast with a raw egg every morning with my pills because I didn't eat all day till I got home.
Right.
And then when I went off the Ritalin and the Dextrin, I ballooned up literally to over 200 pounds in 2 years.
You have to be careful. Yeah, you certainly have to be careful about coming off of them, specifically around diet and exercise.
We didn't know that back then.
No. Well, I mean, those who are studying physiology knew that, but the doctors never told you that. They never told. I actually was on. I took Ritalin too for most of my life.
Oh, really?
Yep. And till I was done really medicine, and And nobody for me, I knew because I had a background in physiology, but you have to really watch your nutrition and your exercise, because basically taking Ritalin is like exercising without exercising, right? Your body is in that heightened metabolism all the time. And as soon as you stop taking it, your appetite comes back, your metabolism shuts right down, and you have to go exercise to get those things done. So I'd be very, you got to be careful. Also, I mean, there's so many other side effects to these things. Like, look what happened to Tyler. He was killing things until he got off of it. I mean, that is nuts.
I also just matured, I think.
Yeah, I was never mature. I think this year I matured. I'm 40, and I never killed animals.
I still do, but I have a huge problem with authority.
Yeah, I had no idea.
As a kid, I had a really bad... So any teacher, when you're a kid, they treat you like shit. When you get to high school, they somewhat treat you like an
Tyler's
adult.
the best employee, by the way.
So, like, yeah, in high school, I got somewhat treated like an adult, so I didn't get in trouble. I was... In middle school, one time I got suspended for taking all the textbooks and hucking them at the teacher.
Jesus.
I got expelled for flipping my principal's desk and throwing her chair
Right.
at
So the
her.
question is, how does cannabis help you with ADHD? There is a little bit of evidence that's in my phone that I could show you, but I can't get to my phone right now. There is a little bit of evidence suggesting that, because cannabinoids, THC in particular, both THC and what's WebMD? And they just make stuff up on that thing.
WebMD is the LP.
No, that's WeedMD, not WebMD.
Oh, that says WeedMD up there.
Did it?
Yeah.
I thought it said
it's
Web.
WeedMD. They got...
Oh.
Yeah, no, because they're partners.
Oh, okay. So, what is the... Sorry, that was totally like squirrel moment, eh? I saw something in the squirrel.
Shiny.
The squirrel came. So, how is it that, cannabis can affect people with ADHD? Good question, Ira. I'm glad I can answer it. Okay, so, the part of the brain that deals with the ADHD is ADHD, and all the the hyperactivity is around around a part of your brain that requires GABA, which is a neurotransmitter in your brain. It's actually not a neurotransmitter. It's a
Because for me, it does definitely serve the same.
It's a receptor.
purpose.
Sorry,
Yeah.
receptor. Blah. It took me a while to say the word receptor. So it's a receptor, and different chemicals interact with it. For example, dopamine. Normally, it's turned on, and when dopamine attaches to it, it turns off, and then it affects whatever it needs to affect. One of those things is attention, and another thing is hyperactivity. Cannabinoids interact with GABA in a very similar way. Sure, we don't have randomized control trials on it, but in more murine, which are rat models, in animal models, and also in basic science in the literature, we have an interaction there that helps in the same way that ADHD does.
It definitely works.
Or the same way that dopamine does.
Yeah, definitely.
Started paying a lot more attention in class.
So that's when it comes to mental health, that's one of the only things that I will attempt. The harm around it is... Excuse me. Sorry, that was
you.
the
Good one.
Bless you.
Sorry, that was a sneeze. That is there is some evidence around its use. So, I'll use it for things like PTSD and ADHD. Those are the only two that and when it comes to mental health, that I'll entertain.
How does it help with PTSD?
So PTSD, actually, there's some really good evidence. Great question, Lucas. Feel free
you're
to
welcome,
call
Ira.
in.
Night terrors, man.
PTSD, there's two effects. There's more than two effects of it. Yeah, we heard that too there, by the way. Al. You need to run away when you make noise.
Noise.
We heard your little cough.
I'm not allowed to cough, says the doctor. No coughing.
No coughing. So in PTSD, there's two major things. We have fear-based emotion, and which produce memories, fear-based memories, and also the mesolimbic system that produces our memories and these fear-based memories. THC helps to decrease the storage of those fear-based memories. Also, most of our dreaming when we have night terrors happens in the phase of sleep called the REM sleep. THC can decrease REM sleep so that you don't produce those night terrors.
But isn't that a bad thing, though?
So REM sleep is important. Night terrors are bad. So you don't get night terrors if you don't have a lot of REM sleep.
Right.
Because you don't dream as much.
Can you
but
get
you
like a
can
full rested,
you can because you can increase the other stages of sleep, and CBD helps increase the other stages of sleep.
Huh. Okay.
Interesting, right?
Yeah, but you don't need to be in REM sleep.
Yeah, I mean, we do need REM sleep, but we're talking people
need a
that
certain amount
don't
of
want to be in REM sleep because
It's worse
that's worse than being in in a deep sleep.
What's-
REM sleep is a very minimal, superficial sleep. That's where you have all your dreams. You know, when you're driving home and you
like
fall asleep
lucid
when you're
dreaming
driving.
kind of, yeah.
I don't know that feeling.
No, good
I know
for
the
you.
feeling like when you wake up and you fall asleep and you're asleep for like 15 minutes, but it feels like 15 hours, but and you have a crazy dream.
Have you ever
For
been
me, it's like 5 minutes, and I have like a dream that I felt like took 10 years.
Yeah.
What was that movie? Was it Inception?
Inception.
Yeah.
What a cool
Have
movie.
you guys felt
Very
that before,
cool
where
movie.
you like you wake up from a dream and you feel like you're still in it, fall back asleep, but you can kind of modify it a little bit, like just push
Lucid
forward in the
dreaming?
dream? Yeah, basically.
I want to get back to dreams sometimes.
It's
I'm
only
like, put me
happened
back there.
once, but like it was crazy.
I've read some books on lucid dreaming. Apparently, when you realize in your dream, to make it like that you're fully aware, if you spin around and then grab onto something,
Oh, you try to
because you'll
ground yourself.
realize that you're in control. You're in control of everything.
How are you going to
that
turn
grab.
Are you nuts?
No, seriously.
He's
swear
watching
you
too much Inception.
read
Yeah.
about lucid dreaming.
Okay.
Read about it.
Yeah, I'm in
I've
my
had
dreams.
it happen like 2 times. One time, I thought I was reborn into the Matrix, and a bunch of people were chasing
Okay, dude.
me. But no, I was jumping 30,000 feet in the air and knowing
Of course
that
you were.
I could do it.
Yeah.
And I knew that I was asleep dreaming.
Yeah,
But
that
all
was
these
kind of the
fucking
same
people were
feeling
trying
that
to
I
get
had.
me. It was weird.
I didn't have
I
that
like
much.
burrowed into a tree and stuff. It was
Yeah,
cool.
I burrowed into
It was
a tree.
really cool.
Yeah, man, that was a dream where I was awake in my dream. Dude,
No,
you're-
seriously,
yeah.
seriously.
Hi, and the definition.
I wasn't
of
high because
prong.
if I smoked a bunch of THC, I wouldn't have had that dream.
That's yeah, good
I was not
point.
high.
But you're definitely.
Have a
There's some
lucid
kind of
dream.
chemical
So now we got a guy that killed animals when he was young, and he jumps 30,000 feet and burrows himself into. He's normal.
Yeah, we're gonna need a
People, he does
character
not
set up
work
on this.
at our clinic.
Hey, lucid dreams.
Yeah.
If you actually have experienced one, you probably know what I'm talking about. To realize you're dreaming when you're dreaming is
a
a,
crazy thing,
very
yeah.
crazy feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I once had a dream similar. I had a dream like that once. It freaked me out. Mm-hmm. I happened to be in the Middle East at the time because that's where all these dreams. You know, it's weird when you start you're in that
Yeah.
place. But I was like
much
hopping
sand.
from like it was weird. I was on like the edge of a mountain. And I was like Frogger, you know, you had to jump onto these little cubes, and if you missed the cube, you'd go into like the abyss,
I know,
into like
Jesus
that go,
Christ.
but you just get like zapped.
Okay.
So I kept, but I knew I was kind of awake in it. Anyway,
yeah.
that was the dream. Cool
Okay.
dream.
Yeah, I mean,
Dreams. I don't really believe that dreams have much meaning anymore. I think there was a time when dreams did. I don't
Yeah.
think, you know, I think
We don't spend much time thinking, daydreaming, and doing all those things
Yeah.
anymore, right? Like it's an interesting thing that I've heard more and more people talk about. We're not bored anymore,
right.
and we need to be,
Right.
You know, just for our own creative minds to expand. Like,
Yeah.
we have this.
Oh,
to
everything's
distract
available.
us all the time.
Everything's available to distract us from actually having genuine thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, at one point we started talking about opioids, and now we're talking about lucid dreaming.
It's a natural transition
That's
of
amazing.
everything.
Yeah, no, I think maybe at one time dreams had meaning. I think when we gave meaning to them, you know, like 2,000 years ago,
But
when
it's
we
also
didn't.
to
There
dream up
still are
new-
a lot of psychologists that believe dreams mean a lot.
Yeah, I
a
think
lot.
it's a lot of. I don't know. I think the subconscious is real, of course, but
Yeah.
what the meaning of dreams? I don't know. I think that's old science.
Yeah.
What about the one you lose all your teeth, you wake up, you feel like you have no teeth,
Okay.
and you think you're getting money?
So here's
All that
so
stuff.
interesting. Yeah, you're coming up with Jewish dreams now.
I know that one. I had that one all the
I was
time.
going to tell you. So here's an interesting thing. So because I come from like that background within
didn't know
Judaism,
Judaism,
where
yeah.
we study all this mystical stuff. One of the only dreams they say that has any meaning is
Yeah.
when your teeth are involved.
What?
Yeah, weird, eh?
Weird, because
Why
that's
did they
one of
think
the
that?
oldest forms of psychology and dreams is that right
Is
there.
teeth? I don't know.
Yeah.
That was-
Yeah, I've heard that
Well,
one
you're
too.
talking about what? Ancient Israelites?
I don't know. Maybe, man.
Yeah.
Maybe the ancient Israelites had something going
Yeah,
on.
maybe.
They were
Anyway,
lucid dreaming all the time.
they're all Hey, listen, they were anointing themselves with oil, the
burning
cannabis
bush,
oil.
all that.
burning bush. It could have been a head injury.
Could have been a dream.
I think in that movie it was a head injury. Like I think like there was a movie about Moses or something.
Wasn't the Bernie
I think it's
Bush
The
DMT
Simpsons.
though?
Oh, was it?
When they reenact everything.
Am I missing something? I don't know. I thought it was a head injury and he had a concussion and dreamt up all this stuff.
I think that is in The Simpsons, and they do the whole goat blood and everything.
Yeah.
They do a pretty
Yeah, I
good
remember that.
interpretation of it, but yeah, there's a head injury.
There was I think it was a head injury. Anyway, so I was watching
Homer
a
is
Simpson
Moses.
episode. So listen, Simpsons, the Bible, same.
Cartoons can teach you a lot.
Yeah, of course they can.
Watch South Park every week.
I
It's
do.
the
South
news.
Park is amazing.
It's true.
South Park, it's amazing what they
Is
can
it
get
still
away
on?
with.
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
yeah,
Really?
And it's awesome.
It doesn't
It's getting
stop.
better. Like it kind of hit a lull there. Like
Season 14, 15 was kind of a lot.
Yeah.
Well, they're social commentaries, right? You can, and as a joke, you can make a social commentary without being reprimanded.
and they can get because they can get away with stuff where you're like, there's no way if these weren't cartoons.
Yeah,
like
so that's
100%.
basically what they
Have either of
fantasy
you guys
does.
watched Big Mouth on
No.
Netflix?
No.
Oh my god!
Big Mouth?
Yeah, it's just about going through puberty in middle school.
Oh, really?
And the stereotypes are to a T. You could pin every kid in your class into that group that's going through puberty
Really?
in the show, and the stuff that they
What's
get
it
away
called?
with.
Big Mouth?
Big Mouth. It is extremely vulgar and very, very funny. If you're
Okay.
into that
Yeah,
thing,
yeah.
Is
like,
it
and there's the
Is it a
male,
cartoon?
It's a cartoon. There's the male hormone monster and the female hormone monster. And whenever they start having urges and then they come out, it's good. It's really funny.
All right.
It's really funny.
Yeah, social commentary is important. I think you have to be able to take yourself a little less serious. I know we're getting to
Yeah.
a world where we know everybody's so serious now, but
everybody's offended by
it's
everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's important to be sensitive, culturally sensitive, and all that stuff too.
Is it though?
Right.
Well, I think it is.
To an extent.
But at what
I don't
point
think
does
you
it get
can mean it.
detrimental, though?
What
right?
about
I don't think
PETA
you can-
going after Dan Blazarian for feeding a bear?
That's what I mean.
Like,
We're-
that stuff's
we're-
insane.
We're
Why-
getting to that crazy
come on.
territory of like.
So-
Guys
What
feeding a
happened?
bear. On 420, Dan Blazarian had like a bear come to their house, like with its trainer, treating it really, really well, and he was feeding it stuff, not weed or anything bad for it, and PETA went nuts.
Why?
No,
you
because
shouldn't
Dan
feed a
Blazarian's
beer.
a
Yeah.
male misogynist, I guess you could call him, who's got a ton of money and he's doing it just because he can. And they got really mad.
He's just
They took a lot of heat for it because it was
he's
stupid
just an
what they
angry
did.
white cisgendered male. And
Yeah.
he's
Oh,
the
really?
enemy.
I don't-
He's the enemy.
Oh, is he? Oh, I feel like I know the name, but like, see,
He's
it's
like
weird.
A baller out of, he's like a poker
He owns
star
Ignite,
dude.
Ignite the company. What actually it is his dad was one of the largest frauds in the 80s and got a ton of money invested in companies and stole it, like billions and billions of dollars. Never paid the IRS back, has gone to prison and been in and out. But Dan, if you read his life story, hid all that money. And he's a very athletic dude. He passed the Marine Corps test twice, and they wouldn't admit him because of his father. But basically, he has an endless amount of money. He owns a massive cannabis company,
What company?
Ignite,
Oh,
like
that's-
a really
okay.
big one. He does
Wow.
a lot. He's worth
Didn't know that.
his Ignite house is worth like $100 million.
What?
Yeah, he's big time.
Wow.
So
That's
he's one of the first Instagram celebrity
Celebrity
influencers.
guys.
Like
where I live under a rock.
Read his biography.
he was
it's
on
good.
Rogan's podcast.
Well, that's where I've heard the name
Yeah,
before.
Yeah. He leads
But-
a crazy life, man. Like
He does,
pretty,
huh?
Pretty much like
He lives
50.
he lives
women
every
around him on jets
16-year-old's
all the time.
dream.
Like,
It's
yeah,
crazy.
He lives every
that dude.
16-year-old.
Can I see what this guy looks like?
He's the
Oh,
guy
yeah,
with the
you'll-
beard.
yeah.
Oh,
You'll
is he
know-
that
He's a really
older
buff
dude?
No,
You'll
you're
know
thinking
him in
of
a
the
second
Italian
if
guy.
I show you.
I don't know.
He's the Italian version of.
Here's him feeding the bear. And they're getting mad. PETA went nuts. That's at his house.
What? And what he just has like people hanging around. He's like 50
so
models just hanging
the
around.
models,
all the
models
time.
get pay him to be with him.
Yeah,
They
that's-
stay around him so they can get posted on his Instagram
Because they
it's-
watch the-
everyone watches it, right?
It's so fucked up.
he has
What?
all. He's
Yeah,
always with.
I-
he's with that
it's
many
the reverse
girls
of
all
everything you
the
would think.
time, and they're
If you
always
go through
different
his
girls.
Instagram,
but
it
they
is
have to
all
pay
that.
to be there with him. Modeling
is this
agencies
guy?
pay him. It's Dan
He's
Blazarian.
ripped.
He's passed the Marine Corps test twice.
I mean, I don't
and they
know.
wouldn't
How, like,
admit
I
him.
feel like you're just exaggerating on
read
that.
read his
Do
biography.
you think that's real?
It is real.
You know when Lucas stands up and leaves just in the middle of a podcast? Thanks, Lucas.
No, it is 100% true.
You think? Okay, but anyways,
100% true.
I think I live under a rock because I don't know who that guy is.
Kinda, yeah.
Like, I don't. What do I do?
He's in
I
the
guess
news
I'm
all the time. I
too
don't know.
busy trying to save
the world.
save people from opioid addictions and promote cannabis use for those things. Okay, but let's
Here, I'll
just
tell you his father.
all right,
is.
tell
You
me
might
that.
know his father.
And then I'm going to go over to, we got like a few minutes left. So I just want to talk about let's just go back to a couple points here. One, if you're going to be an addict, I'm not judging you. Just don't be an asshole. Put your stuff like put it in a box. Carry it in a little handbag. Like we carry our cannabis. You know what I mean? If you're going to use it, that's fine. It's not fine, but we understand that you have an addiction. I'm not judging you. Right. As best you can, try to come off of it. And we're here to help. If you want a place to
100%.
talk to, it's really unfortunate that what happened to Gunjanistas, Al, because, and that's another reason I was angry. I see this stuff, in a fucking A&W, and yet the police are closing down people that are really just trying to make a difference and have things like HOPE, which is that Hamilton opioid something experiment. And I couldn't remember the P. Prevention, that's the word. Prevention experiment, and those things are helpful. And you should, if you do have an opioid addiction and you are trying to get off of your narcotics or your heroin or whatever, no one's judging you for it. And we're here to help you. And you should go check out HOPE. But don't be an asshole and put it in a little lock box. Carry it around with you. And if you got an IV, do it privately, of course. And don't leave your junk lying around. Just don't do that.
I'm going to play devil's advocate as a junkie in this situation, but them carrying that around puts them in jail.
So it's better to okay.
better to
you
dish
should
it.
go to jail, but don't take other people. Don't kill other
Exactly.
people.
Don't risk people.
But
with
you're-
their own
Or is the
stupidity.
argument
the
that there should be an
argument-
easy,
The argument
easier way
doesn't
to
make
get
sense.
rid of it,
But that's
maybe?
what any junkie will say. I'm not carrying that because if I get pulled over,
Right.
I'm going to jail.
So that's you.
That's your risk.
That's
'Cause
your risk. You
the whole
accept
time
the risk.
when I was younger, carrying cannabis around illegally, I still kept it to myself.
That was
kept it
your
on my
risk.
person. It was my risk.
That's right.
100%.
So don't put other
So be
people
the
at risk.
same.
Risk yourself.
Take the risk.
But is there
You're the
anything
one
that we
doing
could do to make it so that wasn't the case?
Well, you can have safe injection sites. The
that's the
problem
only
is with
answer.
safe injection sites, then you get people that are really not there for
You
any
get two dealers standing out front.
That's right.
Just
Right.
chopping.
That's right. All
what you
day.
get.
And it's
It
it's a
feeds the problem.
it's a complicated question.
Yeah.
But I think one of the things you can start with is take care of your own person first.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
worry
Yes.
about you. Stop trying to get other, don't leave your shit lying around.
Not in a
agree.
bathroom where children go to.
That's right.
Well, yeah, or
so
the employees
bad.
have to deal with that then what the...
Yeah.
Employees won't touch it. I would quit in
I
a
wouldn't
second.
either.
I'd be
Fuck that.
no. You
Yeah.
want me
I
to
would
flip
not work
burgers
in any of these
When I
Fashion
literally walked out and I was like, guys, you need to clean this. Like half the people were like, I'll take my stuff to go, thanks, and
Yeah.
walk out. Because
Yeah.
it was literally, you can't go to the back. Like it was everywhere.
Yep.
It was
You
everywhere.
don't feel comfortable being in there.
No.
Touching anything.
That's
touching
right.
the floor.
Yeah.
No.
So
I mean, it's just like the Tim Hortons on Barton. I remember I went in there once because I was walking back home from the cotton factory, and I walked in, and there was like literally 3 people in there, like taking turns shooting up, and I was like, okay,
Yeah.
like it's so common there though. Like it's
So do it
bad.
somewhere else.
Yeah.
Do it somewhere else. Do it with yourself. I'm not judging you for having an addiction. It really sucks and it's multifactorial and there's lots of things, and we don't as a society, we haven't come to figure out a way to deal with it. And we'd like to help. But one thing you can do to help other people is
yourself.
do your own, keep your addiction to yourself. Don't bring other people down with you. And that's hard to do. So that brings me to my second point. And if you're going to use something, use cannabis because it's still a form, towards wellness promotion, instead of harm
Do you
reduction,
think
of
we
course.
could ever get to a place where the government would subsidize using cannabis to get people off opiates? Like that they
I'd
would
like to see that.
The
incentivize
question,
it somehow.
the question, we need studies though, right? The same way we have methadone clinics.
But I mean, what you're doing.
There
is-
were 2 studies that just came out, surveys, of course, longitudinal studies showing, or cohorts showing people that were using cannabis are more likely to stick to an OAT regimen, an opioid, an opioid alternative therapy, which is like methadone or Suboxone. People that use high dose cannabis, meaning they use cannabis every day, are more likely to stick to that than that's probably the coroner calling me. No. It's probably, they were more likely to stick to their alternate opioid therapies versus going back to their original addiction. So even in those 2 circumstances, in those cases, cannabis is beneficial. Even for those that are on methadone or on Suboxone, people that used cannabis every single day. And I have those 2 studies literally sitting on my computer. Actually, I probably have it right here.
Second question.
Maybe I don't.
Is that really more beneficial
addict-
with like extracts though? Like
There,
something
high
more-
intensity cannabis use is associated with retention and opioid agonist treatment, a longitudinal analysis. And this is, look, actually, I met one of the authors of this, which is why she gave it to me. Using cannabis to stay even while on methadone is beneficial. So, at least from this cohort analysis. So I think these are things that we need to think about. And cannabis, the safety of cannabis has been proven over and over again. I'm not saying that, cannabis, everything. What I'm saying though is if it's cannabis versus all the bad shit, choose cannabis. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, but what on the extract thing, like, do you think that side of it is more beneficial for this use case, like having like a purified THC that you're taking in
Versus
instead of like vaping it or something like that? No,
I think entourage. I think the key is the entourage effect. I think that's where that's where the gold is, or the platinum, and I think that's where the
Rick Simpson oil.
No, I think I think the magic happens in the entourage versus in the isolates. That's what I think.
But, you've got to also, we know that high dose edibles work best.
No, we don't.
Well, that's what we hear on the street, bud, because that's what pretty much everybody who has come in for Hope has said. Have you got cookies? They cut the edge off the work.
Yeah, that's what I would assume too.
I think it has to do with the long effect, like you were talking about earlier. If you're on a long effect drug, like let's say if they were just crackheads, that's a more of a quick stern high. The edible might not be the best situation for them.
But
right?
I think
agree
of it,
with
like
you.
the only opiates that I've ever done, I did Percocets once, and the feeling that I got from that was more similar to me than the effect that you'd get off of edibles, like the wavy kind of warm, huggy feeling thing.
Yeah.
Like that. But I don't usually feel like that when I vape it though.
Right.
No.
So it's just a quick acting. It's the quick and long acting. If you're like, if you're IVing heroin, it's going to last you a while, right? You're looking at 3 hours of a good fix, something like that. You're going to be sleeping, then you'll wake up, you'll feel okay, and every couple hours, whatever. So eating cannabis lasts 3-4 hours, right?
At least.
So the people that seem to do well with that are those that exchange the edibles with their IVing whatever they're doing. I don't know about I can't say it's the high dose that really helps, because I don't really think they're...
Well, if you're getting that numb from heroin, you probably want quite a bit of THC to help.
Could be.
If they are fighting any pain and masking it with heroin,
could be. We
Isn't
can...
that more and more people now?
We're going to need more studies, obviously, around this stuff.
Yeah.
What we know now is just that cannabis works for it.
Yeah.
And so the question is, how does it work? And I think that's going to come with the future. What I do know is that it's safer. So even if I don't have all the answers right now, I still know that it's safer than using heroin. So if you're going to choose something, choose cannabis. All right, folks. Do we have any news? And then we'll shut her down. Any news today? Anything happening in the...
At Colorado, I want to just double check if that's
anything
actually
happening.
I sent you an article that's Health Canada's changed some of their ruling.
What do you mean?
I sent it to you on your Facebook.
I didn't see it. What's it say?
Let me look at it here 1 second. Where are you?
is it the new producer laws that came out? Because they're brutal.
What are these new laws?
Basically, you have to have a fully functioning grow before you can even apply for your license, and you're not guaranteed to get that license. So you got to waste millions of dollars for a potential license. When you're applying for that license, it's now, again, probably a couple $100,000 or more in lawyer fees as well. So you're going to need at least $3-4 million before you can even apply for your friggin' license.
Well, I mean, a grow is $4 to $6 million at least. So you're looking at $4 to $6 million. On the low end, you're looking at 4. On an average, you're looking at about 6, depending if you have expert consultants who know what they're doing.
And depending on like the building you buy, where it is, there's a lot of factors at play.
Yeah, Namaste got their license to sell cannabis online.
Yeah, they're the only ones with the actual only retail sale license.
Wow.
So like Shoppers Drug Mart is technically an LP. They're just only retail sales.
Yeah, which is great. I want to know how to get that license.
Took them 5 years. They
Yeah.
applied in 2013.
Wow, that's crazy. All right, folks.
Yeah.
Al, I don't know what else. Oh, hold on. What else? October. What else is happening in the law?
In law?
Yeah.
The edible laws and all that are going to be coming out this year.
In October?
Yes.
So
October.
until then,
Edibles and concentrates.
so until October, what's happening?
Illegal.
Illegal.
Unless you're a medical patient, you can make it yourself.
Well, that's what I was just. If you make it yourself, like I'm a patient, so if
Yeah.
you make it yourself, is it still illegal?
No.
And how, you know,
So there was a.
that's an argument for.
It's not even an argument. There was a court case, a Supreme Court case, Smith versus Her Majesty the Crown, back in 2015 or may have been 16, that patients are allowed to extract their own cannabis for their own self-use.
Manipulate the product
Yeah.
any way you want.
So
to be able to
as a
ingest
patient, you're allowed to. Not a problem.
But
Now,
there are
wh-
restrictions on how you do that.
No,
No.
not for patients.
Not-
There are for LPs and for the extraction of things like using PG and all the other whatever pesticide stuff. You know, and they have laws already in place for when they do extract. For example, there are people that have vape pens, like Hydropothecary has a.
So does Aurora.
And Aurora.
But their CO2 closed loop run in their high CBD vape pen, no THC vape
Right,
pens.
exactly. So, I mean, these things are all bound to change. You're allowed to do your own cannabis, of course, extract your own cannabis.
And if you do a really good extraction, a full pure distillate, which would be isolating THC or CBD, it's 100% vapable without VG, without propylene glycol, without any of that crap.
Is it really? Say that again.
You can vape distillate
Right, without anything.
without anything if you do it right.
That's a good point.
Closed loop CO2 runs.
Yeah. Closed loop
Fractional-
CO2 runs.
Fractional
that is for
distillation
sure.
at its finest.
You know, I love drug math, man. You take all these guys from the legacy market.
You really look at it,
Give 'em
it's
jobs, man.
almost the same
Give 'em
process
jobs.
of making alcohol.
Yeah.
It's almost
It is. It's like
almost the
bootlegging.
exact
Yeah,
same
yeah.
still.
Yeah, and of course they're all chemists, geniuses.
If I knew I'd be doing this, I should have took chemistry in school.
Yeah, no, but we wouldn't do well in chemistry. We
Yeah,
do
yeah,
well.
probably
This
not.
drug math is a little different.
I took astronomy, I took biology, and I took labs in both of them. I
You
did
just have
really
to set
well.
up like a
Science
gazebo
is a good thing.
outside
Yeah,
from
yeah,
school
exactly.
and just let
You
them chill
guys,
there, yeah.
we'll give you a PhD.
Yes.
All
Thank
right.
you.
All right, everybody. Thanks so much for listening today. If you have more questions, please feel free to DM me. Check out Dr. Ira Price on my Instagram. Listen to The Higher Estate
Yeah.
on YouTube.
SoundCloud,
Or on SoundCloud and all the sources, SoundCloud, iTunes, Spotify. And then you can also check out YouTube, The Higher Estate, where you'll see our videos. And anything
And
you want to do.
420 Radio. Make sure you check
yeah.
out 420,
420
Radio.
Radio.
You can find us out there as well, and all the other great content Al puts together.
Yeah, Al's an amazing guy. Listen to the stuff that he's doing. All right, everybody. Thanks, Lucas, for remembering to bring nothing. And but hey,
Thanks.
you're recording, and that is what counts.
That is what
Thanks, guys. Have a good week.
Bye,
Yep.
everybody.